It's 2015, and Nintendo's Wii U console is dying on its arse. Though it features some of the highest rated games Nintendo ever made, it's also home to what can be called the worst. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival has a rating of just 46 on Metacritic, making this Amiibo paywalled board game spin-off officially the worst game Nintendo ever made. But wait, Nintendo's been developing games since the 70s, and Metacritic only started gathering review scores in 2001. So to get to the bottom of this, we need to cast the net wider. In 1985, Nintendo dropped Super Mario Bros. In the US, an unmistakable masterpiece. 2 years later, in 1987, they released The Legend of Zelda, another unmistakable masterpiece. But smack bang in the middle, in 1986, they unleashed what might just be the worst game they ever made in-house. I'm talking, of course, about Urban Champion. Here's the problem with Urban Champion. It really sucks. You play as a generic man bare fist fighting in the street with another man. Keep punching the other man until he falls into a manhole. That's it. That's the game. There are two moves, high punch and low punch. You can even block if you feel like going crazy. No combos, no crouching, no kicks, no real strategy. Just punch, punch, punch until you win. And when you've won, congratulations! You get to do it all over again.
It's so mind-numbingly basic that even in 1986 this sucked. Stand it next to classics like Punch-Out and Kung Fu and it's even worse.
Nevertheless, Urban Champion does have a certain charm to it. A real time capsule. It's good to see Nintendo were trying something new in an era where new ideas were for the taking. Even when they end up a little rough around the edges.
Rough around the edges? Are you kidding me? This game is a disaster. It's not a time capsule, unless the capsule's shaped like a turd.
Oh hell. Imagine two kids in the arcade or at home on their NES, laughing as they punch each other into a sewer. It's silly. You know, it's meant to be tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, it's more like foot in groin if you ask me. Yes, I'm sure those two different types of punching just make the hours fly by. I'd rather fall into a sewer myself than play this.
Urban Champion was clearly built with arcades in mind. Back in the 80s, Nintendo was still hooked on that coin-op mentality. Short, simple games to eat away at your cash. This game feels like they tried to bottle that quick play energy but forgot to add, well, you know, anything fun. Nintendo has released some absolute stinkers over the years. I think of games like Teleroboxer on the Virtual Boy, where you box robots because, why not I guess, Wii Music, because what the Wii really needed was more mindless waggling, and sure you might learn something in Donkey Kong Jr. math, but let's be honest, you won't. But Urban Champion stinks the worst, not just because it's awful, but honestly, it's such a missed opportunity. Make the moveset more varied and dynamic, maybe throw in a dodge move, some street hazards and weapons to make the setting worthwhile, and they'd be onto something. Instead, it's a lesson in how to totally waste a great concept.
Every flop is a step towards something greater. Maybe, just maybe, without Urban Champion in the back of their minds, Nintendo might never have released Super Smash Bros. Or without the Virtual Boy, would they ever have released the 3DS? It makes you think.
No, it doesn't. There's no inspiration to be found here, Hev. The 3DS came around at a time when 3D was having a revival. And well, it lasted about as long as every other 3D revival. And Super Smash Bros. Shares about as much in common with Urban Champion as I do with Pac-Man's arse.
You mean it does share a little bit in common?
I don't look like Pac-Man's arse. Look, developers come and go, teams are set up and then disbanded. Just because you can muster up a basic thread like that fighting game, both Nintendo fighting games, therefore inspiration somehow doesn't fly.
What if the real joke here isn't the game, but our expectations? It's 40 years old and Nintendo has come a long way. Even the lame games they limp out into the world are still better than 90% of what's out there. Urban Champion is a failure on every level, but at the very least it's a line drawn in the sand. We know, almost beyond doubt, that Nintendo would never make anything worse than this. Right?
Is this really the worst game Nintendo ever made?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, really. I challenge anyone to think of something worse. If you can, roast the out of it in the comments below. I'll enjoy reading those, but I doubt it.
No.
I suppose no matter how Nintendo gets, they'll always beat out the likes of Ubisoft, who, and let's be fair, would do better just curling up into a fetal position and dying at this point, as long as they do it quietly. You know they could learn a thing or two from Nintendo. Ooh, speak of the devil.